So, Karen, can you just tell us a bit about your mom and that relationship?
Yeah. Well, my mom, long before I was born, always compared herself with other women. She had an older sister who was quite glamorous and became the head secretary in GM in Oshawa, where they lived. And she had beautiful, dark, flowing hair, and she sewed her own clothes. So that was my mom's sister. And my mom always felt that she wasn't as good looking, she wasn't as talented. So she grew up with this envy of other women. And unfortunately, she had a daughter who was attractive and did well in school and went to university and became a psychologist. And I know my mother struggled to feel pride in me, but she never succeeded. She was always jealous and always comparing herself to me so that she couldn't be empathetic.
Mhm.
And she wasn't empathetic. So it was very hard for me. I couldn't tell my mother about certain things I was doing or successes or travel or whatever because she would be the poor me. You know, she would be, oh, you're so much more sophisticated than I am, and all this, instead of saying, wow, that's so great that you did that. No, I didn't get that. She
So
may
you
have
were
felt it.
you were protecting her from good news about you and bad news about
Yes.
you. Nothing was
Yes.
up allowed except. So then, what did that mean your relationship consisted of with her?
Talking about clothes, talking about talking about clothes.
And
Or
also, but also her struggles. She was able to tell you.
not that much either. I
Oh,
mean, she complained about my father,
hmm.
but she never owned her own issues. And I'll tell you one thing that happened that kind of tells who my mother is. We were visiting my aunt in Ontario. I had flown in to spend time. We were visiting my aunt, and my sister was working in Kingston. And my mother, on the way back, I was driving, and she said, oh, is it all right if we stop and pick your sister up in Kingston to take her home to Coburg? And I said, oh, sure, fine. So we got close to Kingston, and I said, okay, where are we supposed to pick up your my sister? I don't know. That was my mother's answer. I don't know. And we got closer and closer to the city. And I said, Mom, we need to know where we're going, where we're picking her up. This is a city of 150,000 people. Where are we supposed to pick her up? I don't know. And that was it. I don't know. So we ended up, I stopped at the army base because there were no cell phones then and asked if I could use the phone. And I knew my sister was working for the Ontario government in Kingston, but they didn't have any record of her. I phoned and phoned because she was a contract worker. So finally, somebody said, well, she's probably working in XYZ building, but I can't tell you for sure because her name's not on her list as an employee. So we just drove to this front of this building. And by that time, I yelled at my mother. I said, how am I supposed to find her? How did you think you were going to find her? I don't know. That was what she did
Mhm.
until my sister got in the car. And then all of my mother's conversation was aimed towards my sister, and they talked nonstop the whole way back and ignored me completely.
That story tells a lot about your mother and the relationship. The
Yeah.
kind of,
And her relationship with my sister,
uh-huh,
which by that time was kind of cemented because I was living in Calgary.
uh-huh,
So, and I was left with what the heck just happened?
uh-huh. Another kind of, my new favorite word, gaslighting.
Yes, that's
Really.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we do this? But I don't know where we're supposed to go. And finally, I yelled at her and said, what did you think was going to happen? Oh dear,
And
oh
yet,
dear, oh
and then
dear.
you're reminding me in your book, like you are the one that got away. You went to Calgary, you got away from that chaos and that insanity. But
Yes,
and I imagine there was some resentment towards you because you managed to get away and succeed maybe in ways that weren't expected and that others didn't. And at the same time, no acknowledgement of the pain that must have caused you to have to leave
yeah,
everything you ever knew,
yeah.
everyone, and
Leave
miss
my
out.
family, leave everything. And I was on my own in Calgary with an abusive, controlling husband.
Right.
So yes, no, you've put the nail on the head, hit the nail on the head. Exactly.
Right.
Um, I went to Calgary because my first husband pretty much forced me to. Um, but you're right. That was loss on top of loss for
Mhm.
me, loss of my family.
I
Yeah.
just I also, I was estranged from my family for years, and when I came back into the family, I learned that the general feeling about me leaving and not being in contact was that exactly a similar thing, like I had escaped hell, everyone else had had to stay. Um, there's I think part of what we can do is maybe explain to people who are on the other side of this, the ones left behind, how extraordinarily painful it is to leave. It
Yes.
is what is also hard, I think, for my siblings to understand is that pain of being in exile was less than being in contact with people trying to convince me to push my truth down.
Yeah. And to accept the family dynamics as somehow normal when it
Yes.
wasn't.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, I had different family dynamics than you, but the message was still the same. We do it this way,
Hmm.
and we don't want to hear about you.
Hmm.
When I would come back, my father would be very excited to see me, but all he ever did was tell me what he was doing. He never asked me ever what I was doing in my life. Yeah. So he was glad to see me home. So he had somebody else to tell what he was doing.
I think I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. My term that I hope becomes universal is the role perversal when children
Oh,
become.
what a great term.
I'm glad you like it. Please use
Yeah.
it widely. It's you being the parent. It's so obvious,
Yeah.
and that you also had to do it for your dad. I don't think I realized from the book as much as I did for sure with your mother.
Hmm.
And from what
Yeah.
age?
No, it was both of them. Yeah. And when my father stopped drinking, he didn't want to tell anybody because he didn't think anybody knew that he drank too much. It's like, what? Everybody knew. Everybody
Now
in the
you
whole,
can't see me. That's
honestly,
crazy.
I just,
Wow. Did you have the heart to tell him that everyone knew, or did you let him live on in dreamland?
I let him live on, and he did his 12 steps where he was supposed to, I forget what the term is, but he's supposed to make amends with those he has hurt.
Yeah.
No, he waited till I returned for a holiday, brought my sister, my brother, and myself aside on the field, basically, and told us that he had been in treatment for alcoholism and that it was working. And in other words, he did all the talking. He never asked us how it had affected us. Never. So he never did that
Step.
step of the 12 steps. And we just sat there or stood there, and he left. We kind of looked at each other, and my brother said, "Why did he do that?"
Mm,
And we're all like, "Eh."
mhm,
So that was, I mean, that would have been an opportunity for my father to find out how he had impacted the family, how
mm.
he had impacted each one of us.
Yes, yes.
But he never took that chance because he never wanted to.
I think that although your dad actually was successful in leaving drinking behind as much as an
Was.
alcoholic can, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yet didn't face those core issues, and that
No.
what this is always all coming to. Whoever is involved in the story, however far out, the shame at the base of it all, I'm guessing shame prevented him from asking really important questions that could have led to authentic relationships.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not that he didn't try to turn his life around, because he did. He helped a lot of people get off the booze, and he contributed in the community and so on. But it was all here and not here. He never really repaired the relationships with our family. And the fact that he thought that we didn't know means that he never grasped the impact.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
And if you don't discuss it, if you don't hide it, as you say, nothing to look at here, then you could pretend that nobody knew and it wasn't a bad thing. And hey, look, his children all have good jobs and are self-supporting, and all those surface things are good.
Mhm.
He could
Mhm.
brag about us.
Mhm. But the most important things just left unattended.
Absolutely.